Hello and welcome to my channel The Lawyer's Web. Today in this video we are going to discuss upon a very important topic, that is merger and acquisition. So the topic today which I am going to address is that the recapitulation of merger and acquisition and the post-merger integration with the analysis of M&A deals. Before proceeding with the analysis and what are the things that needs to be undertaken for the discussion, it it is to be made clear that this particular segment of the topic, the post-merger integration with the analysis of M&A deals, will be discussed in later videos or in the upcoming videos. So in this video, we are going to talk about the nuances of M&A types of M&A, what are the critical reasons behind the emergence and sudden growth of M&A in the Indian market or the Indian economy. So moving forward with the contents that need to be undertaken in this video. The very first, that is the conceptual overview of M&A market. Second, the critical rationale behind the expansion of M&A market worldwide and especially mainly focus upon the India. Third, merger acquisition the Indian scene during the 1990s. So in this we will see through a graph or chart how different sectors have seen growth over the period of time from the year 1990s. And the latter three, contemplation of major merger and acquisition in India, consideration of key laws regulating M&A, and post-merger integration analysis will be dealt in another video that will be upcoming in a few weeks or the next week. So moving forward with the very first slide, that is conceptual overview of M&A market. Now, the term merger and acquisition both are two distinct things. Now, merger basically is a generic term that contains about the absorption or about the consolidation. Now, if you will see these two figures, the two distinct figures, one merger with consolidation and one acquisition. These two figures is clearly indicating or portraying the distinction between these two terms, merger and acquisition. The very first picture, where you all will be seeing that company A plus company B, by consolidating, by merging into each other, forming a new entity, that is company C. Whereas talking in reference to acquisition, where the one company acquires the another company and forms a bigger company in terms of either dealing in different variety of products or either in terms of raw materials or either in terms of financially or economically. So these particular pictures depict company X is acquiring company Y and becoming a larger company in terms of economy as well as others others grounds that I have enumerated. So moving forward with the M&A deal structure. So this particular graph you will be seeing there are various things that have been mentioned like motivation for M&A, engaging an investment bank, memorandum. So basically this whole M&A deal structure has been classified in 5 steps that need to be complied for the M&A transaction. So the very first steps that needs to be like engaging an investment bank, because these sorts of M&A transaction involves a huge amount, huge financial transaction. So engaging of investment bank is a prerequisite. After that, a memorandum should be formed or prepared by both the companies which are entering into a M&A transaction. Afterwards, on a second stage, we can say the comprehensive document analysis of comprehensive documents and presenting it in front of the investors of the company and preparing a due diligence report. Now, the due diligence been considered as one of the most important and the crucial aspects of M&A transaction, because due diligence contains a lot of analysis of documents, checking, reviewing of documents of other company, so that there should not be any misconfusion or misstatements while entering into the M&A transaction. The third step that involves the valuation of the company, purchase agreement, valuing and exploring synergies. So valuation of the company here, both the companies engage in the estimating the valuation of the company based upon the assets and the liability and the share purchase agreement, these being signed between the both the parties that enter into an M&A transaction. After that, fourth and fifth involves different stages like deal structuring and financing, accounting, legal and tax consideration. What are the tax implications? What are the strategies that needs to be complied while entering into the and finishing and the closure of M&A transaction? And the fifth, deal closure, exploiting synergy and post-merger integration. This particular after the analysis or the completion of the all four steps, finally the closing of the deal comes at a point, and after that the duty is not over on the closure of the deal. The main crucial point or the undertaking of consideration comes in context of post-merger integration. There is a lot of implications after the merger or the M&A transactions been closed between the two companies. Now, dealing with the types of mergers. So there are six or seven types of mergers. So we are not going to deal with each and every types of mergers, but basically two or three which are so much prevalent in Indian economy or Indian market, and most of the M&A transactions will happen within the ambit within the arena of these three or four types of mergers. Proceeding with the discussion of horizontal merger. This particular horizontal merger, what we understand from the horizontal merger. So basically this type of merger, the horizontal mergers, actually this M&A transaction happens between the two companies which operate in the same field, or we can say in the same industry. Like the very recent M&A transaction, we can say G Entertainment Enterprises Limited and Sony Picture Network India. So these both the G Entertainment and Sony Picture both works and operate in the media industry, or the belongs to media companies only, and competing in the same market, having some form of some similarity in terms of market competition, or we can say similarity in consumer database. So these types of any type of merger or the acquisition which take place falls within the ambit of horizontal merger. Now proceeding with the vertical merger. Now what do we understand from the vertical merger? So vertical merger occurs the merging of two companies which are in a same type of businesses but at a different stages of production. Like for the example, we can take the example of eBay or PayPal. Now, eBay provides a platform that allows people to sell items through digitally, whereas PayPal allows buyers to pay for that particular buying of items. Now, this both belongs to the digital marketing field, or we can say digital marketing segment, but both are at different level of production. One is providing a platform of selling the items, and one is providing the platform to pay for that particular items. So these types of mergers falls within the ambit of vertical mergers. Now proceeding with the congeneric merger. Now, as the name suggests, congeneric merger, these types of merger of the two companies or the firms happens which occurs or which operates in the same general industry, but the difference between the congeneric and the horizontal merger is that while operating in the same general industry, they do not have any mutual buyer or customer, or any same targeted supplier relationship with the same concerned person or the industry. So the very important case of Thomas Cook India Limited and Australian Holiday Resort India. Now, let's see. These two entities, Thomas Cook India Limited and Australian Holiday Resorts, both were involved in terms of tourism industry. But their customer bases and process chains are totally different. So these types of we can see that these types of entity both are merging, both are dealing in the same general industry like the tourism, but their customer base, targeted market, targeted supplier relationship, all are different. So this type of merger falls within the ambit of congeneric merger, M&A transaction. So what are the regions, critical regions behind the M&A transactions between the different entities or the different companies? So this particular diagram shows that some of the regions being enlisted for the entering of company into M&A transaction. First, growth of the company for facing the competition and maintaining monopoly in the market. Third, building synergies and economies of scale on a larger scale. Establishing dominion, as I said, maintaining supremacy or the monopoly in the market. And fourth, dodge tax means by a legal or illegal means sorting out to pay less amount of tax to the government. Now moving to the next slide. Rationale behind expansion of M&A market worldwide. So the very first, one of the most important and the critical reason that is increasing shareholders' wealth. So, if we go through the bare reading that this is because merger and acquisition is expected to give rise to various operating and financial synergies, which means that the value of the merged entity is expected to be greater than the sum of the independent values of the merging entity. So, basic reason or the for entering into M&A transaction is to widen or enhancing the independent value of the entity. Like, for example, if the valuation of a particular company is 500 crore, so after merging with another company, it's the merging entity valuation will go maybe will increase. It will go to the 1000 crore valuation or 1500 crore valuation. So this is one of the reasons. Second, synergy. The most successful merger are those in which the parties involved are in the same line. Basically, the two firms or the entities or the company enter into M&A transaction for a smooth functioning into a particular industry or in a targeting a particular market, having maintaining a particular bona fide relation between them. Like for the example, Taco Bell and Pizza Hut. Expansion of M&A market worldwide is the increased asset size. When two entities will merge with each other, so it is obvious that the combining of the asset of both the entity or the company will increase the asset size of the final merged entity. So, considering the scenario of the very landmark merger, ICICI Bank with the SCICI, which finally grew the asset size of ICICI in a particular one shot after the closure of M&A deal by 26%, which is equal to rupees 33.430 crore. So this clearly prima facie shows that the merging of entity automatically increases the asset size of the merged entity. Now, proceeding with the next slide, that talks about the diversification as a rationale. So, the term diversification so that the diversification in terms of dealing in different products. Now, if one, let's understand through a sorted example. If one company is dealing in a particular product line, and the second entity is dealing in another product line, when these two entity will merge with each other, so both the targeted line or the both production or the diversified product line will combine each other, and the merged entity will having a diversified product line. Now, the next is financial economy. So basically, this particular subheading indicates about the absorption of accumulated loss. Now, the profit-making company when merges with the or it acquires a loss-making company, so the profit-making company absorbs वो जो भी accumulated losses होते हैं उस लॉस बियरिंग कंपनी का उसको ये अंडरटेक कर लेता है and this particular absorption of accumulated losses helps in any kind of tax evasion from the government. Now, proceeding with the next slide, which depicts this particular fascinating pictures considering the reasons or the rationale behind the M&A transaction. First, to eliminate competition, as it is so simple or sorted that if a company is merging or acquiring another company, so automatically there's one competition being reduced down or sorted down. Now, second, establishing a bigger market share when the assets size will be bigger or the merged entity will have a diversification in product line. So it will grow as a bigger market and as a dominating position. As tax evasion, as I earlier said, and setting of the losses of one entity against the profit of other, as in the economic functionalities I have stated. Now proceeding with the next slide, which talks about the Indian scene during the 1990 about of the merger acquisition. So if you will see this particular chart talking from the year of 1993 to 203. So considering the scenario of in year 1993 where 218 mergers takes place and 31 acquisition has been taken place. Considering um, considering and following the 1993 merger acquisition, 1994, 1995, and until 203, there has been significant and rapid growth in the number of merger as well as number of acquisition, which show that uh, thus, considering the scenario and the successful transaction of merger acquisition, which leads to the expansion of this whole economy and the fruitfulness of the economy, is seen in these durations. Now, proceeding with the next slide that stated about the table 5, that is the distribution of M&A across industry group 1990-91 to 200 to 201. So this particular graph or the table shows that the distribution of M&A, like what are the industry which engage into the M&A transaction. So, talking about the pharma industry, in the year 1993 to 1994, two M&A transactions being taken place, whereas in 1995 to 96, 5, later on 27, 47, this number been increasing rapidly over the passing of years. So this petrochemical energy gas, so these all are the segment of industry which has faces this M&A transaction over the past years or over the flowing years. So here we are ending this particular video. Now the other segment, that is the post-merger implications and the major deals like the Adani hostile takeovers and the Air Asia Vistara and Sony and G merger. So let's meet with my next video on the second segment of this particular M&A recapitulation. Thank you.